It does,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Spellacy, was been outlined by the government. Is that consistent with your understanding and expectation at this time?
It is, Judge.
Mr. Gentile, same question?
Yes, it is, Your Honor. Thank you.
Gentlemen, to your knowledge, have you received the exchange full discovery of the state of Ohio, Mr. Spellacy?
Judge, we've had complete and full discovery of this matter. I can further keep to the record, Judge, I've given that information to my client. We've gone over with it. Government has been more than fair with us with discovery. We believe that, I believe the forthcoming plea will be knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily tendered by my client.
And Mr. Gentile, to your knowledge, have you received the exchange full discovery with the government?
Yes, Your Honor. It's been exchanged. I've gone over all the evidence with Mr. Runyan. You're about to receive a full, knowing, intelligent, and voluntary plea. Thank you.
And is there otherwise a factual basis for the plea, Mr. Spellacy?
There is, Judge.
Gentile.
Yes, there is, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Cominsky, Mr. Runyan, gentlemen, when you come before me to entertain a change of plea, does it require a personal conversation back and forth between you and I? Do you have any questions for me about something that I say, or perhaps a question I ask of you that you don't quite understand? Let me know. Clear it up for you. Likewise, if either one of you would like to speak with your lawyer in private, let me know and I'll make sure that happens as well. Does that sound like a plan, Mr. Cominsky? How about with you, Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, we're going to be going back and forth just like that. I'll first ask my questions of you, Mr. Cominsky, and then you, Mr. Runyan, all right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cominsky, would you start by telling me your name and tell me how old you are?
My name is Chase Cominsky. I'm currently 36 years old, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Jacob Runyan, and I'm 43 years old.
How far did you go to school, Mr. Cominsky?
I graduated to 12th grade with 2 years of tech school.
Outstanding. Mr. Runyan?
Graduated with some college.
Very good. So, gentlemen, may I assume that you each have the ability to right? Okay, Mr. Cominsky? Mr. Runyan?
Yes,
One of you currently under the influence of any drugs or alcohol or medication, anything that would affect your ability to either understand what is happening here today or prevent you from entering a plea. Mr. Cominsky?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
No, Your Honor.
Do you in fact understand what is happening here today, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Other than what we've already talked about here so far in the record, has anybody made any threats to you or promises to you in order to get you to change your plea here today? Mr. Cominsky?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
No, Your Honor.
And whose decision is it to plea here today, Mr. Cominsky?
Chase Cominsky's decision.
Mr. Runyan?
My decision, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, you each are being represented by an attorney, and my question is, are you satisfied with the legal services that your lawyers have provided? Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Should be, man. You got good lawyers with you here in court today. Mr. Cominsky, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir, I am.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are either one of you on any community control, probation, or parole restrictions? Are you answering to any other judge or any other probation officer on any other case? Mr. Cominsky?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
No, Your Honor.
All right, now, minimal, I'm certain that your lawyers have already explained to you all of your constitutional rights. I still have the obligation to make certain that you, in fact, understand what rights you have and that you understand that by your entering into this plea here today, you'll be waiving or giving up these rights that we typically refer to as being your trial rights. So I'll review those with you. So these states means you each have the right to go to trial in this case. You have a jury of 12 come in to make the decision. Their decision must be unanimous as to your guilt or your innocence. Or you may waive that right and have me make the decision in what is referred to as a bench trial. Do you understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. At the time of the trial, that's what your decision would be. The government has the burden to prove your guilt by producing evidence of beyond a reasonable doubt. The way they would do that is they'd call witnesses to the stand. And when they did that, your lawyers would have the opportunity to question or cross-examine those witnesses. You understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
You each also have the right to call witnesses to testify on your own behalf. And if those folks didn't want to come to court, your lawyers could ask me to go send the sheriff's out to get those folks, drag them into court here, and make them testify for you. You understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Finally, men, you each have the right to testify in your trial, and you have the right to not testify at trial and remain silent. If you choose to do that, no one's allowed to make a statement or comment about that. You understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Gentlemen, I expect you'll each be first pleading guilty to count one of the indictment as charged. By pleading guilty, you're admitting to the truth of the charge, which is that you did knowingly engage in conduct designed to corrupt the outcome of an athletic or sporting event. Do you understand that count, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Also expect you'll be pleading guilty to the forfeiture of property specification, meaning that you'll each be giving up any right, title, or interest that you may have in a Ranger Pro Fisherman boat and a easy load trailer. Do you understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
As I said, that's a felony of the 5th degree. The charge is punishable by a potential term of incarceration in monthly increments of between 6 and 12 months in the state penitentiary, as well as a potential of a $25 fine. Understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
I also expect you'll be pleading guilty to count 4 of the indictment as it is charged. By pleading guilty to count 4, you're admitting to the truth of the charge, which is that you did buy, sell, or offer a part of animal for sale or transport a part of wild animal to wit a walleye in violation of Section 1531.02 of the Revised Code or Division Rules, to wit Ohio Administrative Code 1501.31-13-08J. You understand that count, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
The charge is a felony of the 4th degree that is punishable by a potential term of incarceration of up to 30 days in a local jail here, as well as a potential of a $250 fine. It is also punishable by a potential Ohio fishing license suspension of up to 3 years. Understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, gentlemen, if you were to receive a prison sentence on count 1 as part of your sentence, would you be released?
Sorry, Judge, you had a question with regards to this.
Take your time.
We're good. I just
Okay. If you were to receive a prison sentence as part of your sentence, when you would be released from prison, you would be subject to supervision by the Ohio Parole Authority and what is referred to as post-release controller, PRC. That's the fancy term for parole. It'd be at their option or at their discretion as to whether or not they would supervise you. If they chose to supervise you, they could supervise you for up to 2 years. They would impose rules and conditions for your following. If you violate any of their rules or conditions, you could face a more restrictive rule or condition, a longer period of supervision, or they could send you back to prison even though you did all the time that I originally sentenced you to. You could receive up to 9 months in prison for each of those rule violations. The total for all of your rule violations could not be more than 1/2 of what your original sentence would be, except if the rule violation was because you committed a new felony. If that were the case, you could face a PRC prison sanction, the greater time of 1 year, or whatever time is yet remaining on PRC. And that, gentlemen, is in addition to the time you might get for the new felony. The prison time you get for the new felony could be run consecutively to the time you get for the PRC violation. That's a lot of information, gentlemen. I think you understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
It could instead be a sentence of a community control sanction. That's the fancy term for microbation. I could put you on microbation for up to 5 years. While on my probation, I can make you follow my rules. If you violate any of my rules, you could face a prison sentence at that point. Understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Finally, I can make you pay court costs, cost of your supervision, cost of your confinement, and restitution if I thought was appropriate. Do you understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, the last thing is I understand it is a recommendation of the state that I would impose a sentence of 6 months probation, and that the state would not oppose any possible expungement if you're found to be eligible. So 2 things. First of all, do you understand what the state's position is, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
So I want you to understand that what that is what it sounds to be, which is it's a recommendation. I don't have to follow it if I don't want to. I will say at this point in time, I'm not certain as to what I'm going to do. If I have a difference of opinion, I will let you know ahead of time, and you and your lawyers can take whatever action you may feel at that point in time. But I'm not bound by that recommendation. You understand that, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Cominsky, do you have any questions of me about anything that I've gone over here with you today?
No, sir.
Is there anything that you would like to speak to Mr. Spellacy about privately before we continue any further?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan, do you have any questions of me about anything that I've gone over here with you today?
No, Your Honor.
Is there anything you'd like to speak to Mr. Gentili about privately before we continue any further?
No, Your Honor.
Well, then let me ask you each this. Do you each feel that you each have a complete understanding of although rights you have, these rights that you'll now be giving up or waiving, you feel you understand what it is that you will be pleading to, and you understand what your maximum possible penalties might be. Those understandings, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Men and I believe you do as well. So I'll make a finding that the pleas you're each about to tender will be made knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently. I'll further find that I have explained to you your constitutional rights, that you understand them, the nature of your charges, the effects of your pleas, the maximum sentences which may be imposed. So, Mr. Cominsky, let me start with you first then, sir. How do you first plead to count 1 of the indictment as charged and count of cheating as a felony of the 5th degree? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
How do you plead that forfeiture of property specification? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And Mr. Runyan, how do you plead to count 1 as indicted in charge of cheating as a felony of the 5th degree? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
How do you plead to that forfeiture of property specification? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Mr. Cominsky, how do you plead to count 4 as indicted in charge of unlawful ownership of wild animals as a misdemeanor of the 4th degree? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Mr. Runyan, how do you plead to count 4 as charged in kind of unlawful ownership of wild animals as a misdemeanor of the 4th degree? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, are you each guilty of those offenses, Mr. Cominsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Runyan?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll accept your pleas of guilt. I'll make a finding of guilt accordingly. I'll grant the state's request to dismiss the remaining counts. I'll order that goat trailer forfeited. Mr. Spellacy, what's your pleasure?
Judge, I respectfully ask the court to consider bringing this matter for a pre-sentence report. I think it'd be helpful to the court and definitely for my client.
Mr. Gentile?
Same request on behalf of Mr. Runyan. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, we have a sentencing date?
Your Honor, could we come back on May 11th at 11 a.m.?
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Gallagher, is that date convenient for the state of Ohio?
That date is fine, Your Honor. I did want to say one thing. When you were reviewing the indictment, you misspoke on count 4 and mentioned it was a felony of the 4th degree.
Okay.
That was a misdemeanor of the 4th degree. Just
Yeah.
one quick thing.
Sure. So, gentlemen, did you understand that's a misdemeanor of the 4th degree?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you understand that prior to entering a plea of guilt?
Yes, sir.
That was his question.
That was my question.
Okay, well, if I misspoke, I apologize. Let's try that one more time. So, Mr. Cominsky, how do you plead to count 4 as indicted in charge of unlawful ownership of wild animals as a misdemeanor of the 4th degree? Guilty or not
Guilty.
guilty?
Guilty.
All right, Mr. Runyan, how do you plead to count 4 as a charge of unlawful ownership of wild animals as a misdemeanor of the 4th degree? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Gentlemen, I'm going to refer you down to the probation department. You'll need to go down there today, now, on the 7th floor, and schedule an appointment with them. You come back to that appointment, they'll be asking all kinds of questions about your background, family history, education, employment. I encourage you to be honest with them. They'll be generating a document that I'm going to be relying upon when I make my decision here at sentencing. Mr. Cominsky, if they take a sample of your urine today, how's it going to come?
Clean.
Nothing in it?
Nothing in
No
it.
weed?
I'll do nothing, Your Honor.
Good to hear. Mr. Runyan?
Clean, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Gallagher, anything else on behalf of the government?
Nothing further to state, Your Honor.
Mr. Spells, anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Gallagher? Anything else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I said Gallagher. I apologize.
Sorry. Nothing.
All right, I'll leave the bond remaining as it is. We'll see you on May 11th at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.